Why hello again. This video I'm doing another pop culture kind of thing, and excuse me, I have to make sure you all can see the crazy caricature of me and the cat and Price is Right name tag and the couple of politicians there. And no, I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm talking about daytime game shows. Okay. Again, a little personal reflection, but then I'll talk to you about a solution I have for today's daytime environment. So anyway, ever since I can remember, I've been a fan of game shows. I think the story goes when I was an infant, when I, just maybe a few months old and can actually sit down or crawl around on the carpet or whatever. My mom would always sit me down on the carpet and watch Price is Right with Bob Barker. And that has always been probably one of the most, probably the biggest show, if not the big number one show that has really stuck with me throughout my entire life. The Price is Right. I will always like the Bob Barker version a trillion times better than I ever will the Drew Carey version. I said I'm not going to get political here, but let me tell you, there's been a lot of, especially the last 5 years, I've noticed that a lot of Drew Carey's liberalism has spilled onto the show, and I really don't appreciate it. But I'm not going to poo-poo you too much with political stuff, but because I have a lot of other videos that aren't political, but not this one. But anyway, Drew Carey has really moved the show, in my opinion, really to the left. This used to be a show that anybody could watch, and now I think a lot of Drew Carey's liberalism has spilled over. Sorry, my apologies, but I'll just say this, that I'm not a fan of having a male model. Everything's even got two on the show now. And then there was the whole RuPaul thing. Oh my gosh! And I know I didn't watch that, but no, oh no. And then I think it was back in the fall of 2019. He even had a not RuPaul, but somebody similar to RuPaul in that portion of that sector of the entertainment industry, I will say, actually on the show. Crazy, on a daytime show when kids could be home, they could be watching The Price is Right, just get suckered in. And look, Bob Barker, he's a Republican like me, but I disagree with him on the whole animal rights thing, whatever. It's crazy, but I like Bob Barker a whole lot more than I ever will Drew Carey. And plus, Drew Carey is just, he's like a wallflower at a junior high dance. Like, he almost just stands there on the wall and looks at the girls on the other side of the dance floor and does nothing. I mean, he's almost like a mannequin on the show. He hardly ever gets excited about anything. Bob Barker got excited, almost overexcited, but hey, at least Bob Barker actually acted like he wanted to be there. I don't think Drew Carey does. I just think he does this for the money, and that's it. And also, all of the background music, the iconic jazz, and all that classic 70s, 80s music, instrumental music, I should say, from the Bob Barker show is gone. And even the outdated set, I wish we still had the outdated set that Bob Barker had on his show from He had the same set for like almost the entire time he was on the show. It's crazy, but yeah, the Bob Barker version is so much better. And then you have, again, daytime game shows. Not going to get any other kind of game shows. Hopefully this video will not be 67 minutes long like my Unsolved Mysteries talk was, but who knows. The other show I will tell you about is Family Feud. Okay. Actually, there is a documentary on YouTube right now from the E! True Hollywood Story, back when the E! Channel was actually relatively useful to watch. Now it's like reality crap 24/7. But yeah, if you're watching this right now and you're like, 10 or 15 years old, yeah, there was a time when the E! Channel had these things called documentaries, like the E! True Hollywood Story, and they would talk about TV shows, or they even went through the whole Family Feud game show, okay, from Richard Dawson to Ray Combs, all the way up to, I think, Louis Anderson or Richard Karn, but, and they even did another documentary on Ray Combs separately too, but anyway, daytime game shows. The only other daytime game show that I've ever watched, because remember, I was born in the mid 80s, and by the time I could start remembering what I watched on TV, or could control what I watched, it was like 91, 92, and in the 90s in daytime, and even today, game shows are a very few and far between. Just very, like, an almost endangered species. But we had The Price is Right, and then the other game show that aired in daytime, okay, was Family Feud. And the version and the host I like the best, and the version I remember the most from my childhood, was Ray Combs. Okay, Ray Combs' version aired on CBS daytime from 1988 until 1994, I believe. Till the spring of 94. Okay. And then it was in syndication for a year, 94, 95. And that was at Richard Dawson's return. And then it went off the air for 4 years. And then we have the 99 was Louis Anderson. And then 2002 was Richard Karn. And then Johnny O'Hurley, 2006. And finally, Steve Harvey since 2010. So, but let me talk to you about the Ray Combs version. It started airing in 1988, I believe, at 10 or 10:30. It was always in the 10 o'clock time slot before The Price is Right. Okay. The version that I remember the most was the version that aired for about a year, from the fall of 92 till the spring summer of 93, and this was called the New Family Feud Hour, and it was on from 10 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock, and this was on WBAL Channel 11 Baltimore, where I grew up. And Ray Combs was the host, of course, and he will always be probably, like, if not my number one game show, it's definitely top 5. He always does a great job of, he seems to enjoy his job, seems to be very happy all the time, has a sense of humor. Well, I mean, he used to be a comedian, but so that's a good thing, but for the job, but, and then, but the bonus round, my favorite part of Family Feud is always, most people's favorite part too, is the bonus round, fast money, right? They give you, what, 20 seconds to answer 5 questions. They go number one answer. And then the next person comes in and they have 25 seconds. They get, answer 5 questions, and you win $20,000. Okay. But Ray Combs, when he was with the contestant reading back the answers, right, he said, "Our survey said," he didn't do that for every question, but towards the end of the game, yeah. I mean, nobody else, not even Steve Harvey, can get that excited and put you on the edge of your seat like Ray Combs can. Okay. And the thing about the new Family Feud hour was it had the bullseye round, and the bullseye round was also kind of like Fast Money, but you basically you had the face off, but then the object of the game would be name the number one, name a food that has the color green in it. You say jalapeno pepper, and then boom, it'll show jalapeno pepper on the bullseye if that's the answer. If not, you get a strike. But if you answer the question right, you win like $1,000 for your bankroll. And your bankroll is, if you make it through the whole game, the bankroll round is what you win. Obviously, at the end. Fast Money. Now, I believe the bullseye round, the Family Feud hour only lasted for one season. It was done by summer of '93. I also think the bullseye round was also gone after that year too. But Ray Combs had another year, 93, 94, and then the 93, 94 season was really when him and CBS really started butting heads. And the documentary you can watch on YouTube, just type in like ETHS Family Feud, and it's like an hour and a half long, but it's still very good. It'll take you through all the hosts from the original Richard Dawson all the way till the mid 2000s. But basically 93, 94 there was a button heads of CBS and Ray Combs, and apparently Ray Combs was trying to do the Ray Combs show, and the executive producer was trying to produce the Family Feud, and there was a big chasm between the two. So this led to, and plus ratings were declining, like the new Family Feud hour was trying, CBS was trying to pump up the ratings, didn't work, and at the end of '94 season, the show had been canceled by CBS. The show had been canceled by CBS, but then, producers already had Richard Dawson in place, and the funny thing about how this unraveled for Ray Combs, it's a real unfortunate thing, but in the early '94, Ray Combs could be filming an episode in the same exact studio. Okay, he could wrap up his episode for CBS, and then same day Richard Dawson will come in and he'll film his episode for the syndication version. Kind of weird having two hosts, right? And a network version, syndicated version of the same studio on the same day. It's crazy. And I think Ray Combs kind of knew that he was getting replaced and everything. And also another thing too is, if you haven't seen the very last episode of Ray Combs hosts Family Feud, please, I urge you to go on YouTube and also watch that. I mean, if you don't have time to watch the whole 20-minute episode, at least watch the Fast Money round, because it is just it'll leave you speechless, and not in a good way anyway. It's very, Ray Combs gets very sarcastic, he gets very irritable, I mean, as soon, and I think the family that's in Fast Money around that day, they have a very poor score, and as soon as they learn they're not going to get the 20,000, you hear the big and Ray Combs like runs out of the studio. It's crazy. And then they come back to commercial for the final credits, and Ray Combs is like nowhere to be found. It's crazy. I don't think he even says goodbye. But so Ray Combs gone from Family Feud '94, and immediately after that, his life really goes downhill. Really goes down in the dumps. He gets in a really bad car accident, and it really, limits his health. And also, really, I mean, he, at the time of his accident, he's only 38. And it really messes his whole body up, his mobility, his movement, and everything. Just everything hurts. And then I even think his house might have caught on fire too or something. And then you add on top of that, his marriage is on the rocks, and he's going through divorce proceedings. This is all summer, fall '94 into '95. Now '95, Ray Combs has his very last job as a game show host, and that's hosting the Family Challenge on the Family Channel, which is now, the Family, was Christian Broadcast Network in 1990, was the Family Channel. 1998 was Fox Family. In 2001 it goes ABC Family, and then about 2 or 3 years ago it goes to Freeform. But at the time it's the Family Challenge on the Family Channel. And to be honest with you, Ray Combs does a pretty good job, to be honest with you. Is he as good as Family Feud? No, but still pretty good. But, I mean, he's 100 times better than Drew Carey, post Price is Right, that's for sure. But, 95, 96 hosts the Family Challenge, okay? And I believe his very last episode he ever films airs. It might even be a live episode. It might have been live. It was Memorial Day '96. It was like a special episode for the Family Channel. And then, unfortunately, like a week later, I believe, he commits suicide. He hanged himself. And that's the end of his life. And he passes away, barely hits 40. And the thing about it was my dad, born the same year my dad was, 1956. So I was kind of, but Ray Combs just had so much talent. So much. And unfortunately just, things just got to him, being dumped by CBS. Well, first of all, getting stabbed in the back by CBS because they're, host Richard Dawson in your own studio same day. Then being dumped by CBS, having all the producer crap, battling with the producer, car accident, fire, divorce. I mean, wow. Personally, I'll tell you that. Whew, had such high hopes for him. I was only 10 years old when I found out the news that Ray Combs had committed suicide. I was pretty sad. But I will tell you that I am a Christian. And I don't know if Ray Combs was a Christian or even believed in God, but, I'll just tell you that I think if he had I don't even know if he had any friends the last couple years of his life or anybody really, if he had, spiritual mentor at least, or just a really good friend, and even believe in God would be great, or being Christian, but even if he had a spiritual mentor, he probably would have made it. And that whole dark period of his life, the last 2 years, he probably never would have committed suicide. And if, I think if he did not commit suicide in 96, he would have gone on to great things. And he'd probably, probably be the host of Price is Right today, in my opinion. We would have him. Imagine if we would have had, imagine for a moment, just take a moment, close your eyes, do whatever, and imagine, okay? Imagine if in 2020, Ray Combs is hosting The Price is Right instead of Drew Carey. Would you watch the show every day? I know I probably would. Yeah, right? It'd be so much better, but okay. So those were the two daytime game shows that were really big in my childhood. Now let's fast forward to today, 2020. Daytime game shows. What do we have? Well, we, of course, still have The Price is Right. We have Let's Make a Deal. Depending on your CBS affiliate, that either airs at 10 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Here in Greensboro, North Carolina, it's at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then you probably have 25 Words or Less and America Says. I'm not a fan of either of those. I'm not going to waste any time there. Bleh. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? That got yanked off the air last year, unfortunately. That was another good date. That's a whole nother hour, 2 hours I could talk about that. But anyway. And Family Feud, depending on that's in syndication, but your affiliate might air that as a daytime game show now. Here, I think it airs like a couple times in the morning, like 7 or 7:30, then it airs like 6 o'clock, and then 7:30. It's like, wow, a lot of errands. It's on an ABC affiliate, but this ABC affiliate does not have any local news programs. So yeah, they have a lot of syndicated programming. But the main origin of this video idea that I had was earlier today. I had this idea. I went on to the Sitcoms Online website and look at the thread. It's called the 20 Biggest Mess Ups in NBC History. One of them, the posters had put on there that NBC had canceled 21. This is the Maury Povich version in 2000. And that version, had pretty good ratings, but they still canceled it after like 4 months on the air in May or June of 2000. Okay, but what I really want to talk to you about today is NBC and their pathetic dumpster of a daytime schedule. Their daytime schedule is garbage. It's terrible. I was thinking about doing one of these on ABC, but honestly, ABC does a pretty good job with having their game shows air in prime time, and that sort of thing. So NBC, I think the game shows in prime time, they have The Wall, they have Ellen's Game of Games, Titan Games, American Ninja Warrior, maybe a few others, but I'm talking about good, classic game shows, not reality shows or knockoffs of American Gladiators. Talking about real, authentic game shows, okay? So what I wrote today on this topic was A mistake that I thought NBC made was that they stopped airing daytime game shows in January of 1994. As a matter of fact, the last one to air was Caesar's Challenge, which is like this word game slash slot machine game. It's based out of Las Vegas, obviously, because it's at Caesar's Palace. ABC stopped airing game shows in the mid-'80s, even before NBC stopped. Let's see, Fox does not have any network daytime program, neither does the CW. Okay, so I picked NBC because they're over ABC, because again, ABC has their thing going in daytime. I don't want to delete that, okay? And plus, NBC, I think, has some better game shows from their, especially the late 80s, early 90s, okay? Oh yeah, then I said CBS has been the leader in daytime for 30 years now. NBC's answer in recent years is to air 5 hours of the Today Show. No, no, no. I say bring back the game shows. So here's my proposed schedule. Okay. So, of course, your local affiliate will do their morning news, 5 to 7. Then 7 to 9, you have your Today Show, right? Just like it's been for like the last 50, 60 years, right? Then at 9 to 11 in the morning, you have local programming. Whatever show your affiliates want to air. Nowadays, a lot of affiliates will air like a 9 o'clock local newscast, which I think is pretty cool. I think you do that a lot down in Florida. A lot of, elderly people want to, watch the news and stuff. Okay. So 9 to 11, local programming. Then, up against The Price is Right on CBS. On NBC, we're going to move Days of Our Lives from 1 p.m., where it's getting absolutely slaughtered, killed in the ratings by Young and the Restless and The Bold and Beautiful at its current 1 p.m. time slot. We're going to move it to 11 a.m. Okay? Guess what? This is great because if you're a soap opera fan, you can start watching Days of Our Lives at 11. Take a break for lunch. 12:30 to 2 is your CBS soaps. And on ABC at 2 o'clock, you can watch General Hospital. See? Get all your soaps. Okay, so 11 a.m. we have Days of Our Lives. At 12 p.m. we have local programming again. Or this can be a news or news hour, or some affiliates I know will air news at 12, and then 12:30 they'll do an infomercial, or they'll do Inside Edition. Haha, probably same thing. Haha, Inside Edition's an infomercial. Haha, yeah, you didn't know that, did ya? Haha. Anyway, and then at 1 o'clock we have our first game show. And the thing that I tried to do with this new daytime block on NBC is I said, look, if you're a soap lover, you can watch soaps on all 3 networks. If you're a game show lover, you can watch Let's Make a Deal at 10 or 3, depending on where you live. 11 o'clock, you watch Price is Right, and then you can take a nice hour-long lunch and then come back from 1 to 3 and watch game shows on NBC, right? So at 1 p.m., we have Scrabble. Yeah, the word game that aired from 1984 to 1990, and then aired briefly again in 1993 with the great Chuck Woolery. And he's a great Republican, by the way. Great Chuck Woolery as host. And that's a word game. You contestants, they draw for tiles and everything, and then there's this really cool speed round. You have to answer like 10 words in 60 seconds. Then your opponent has to try to beat you. It's pretty cool. They have this great big plunger. Like, this is a microphone. It's kind of like that size. They punch on it kind of thing for the bonus round. At 1:30, we have concentration. I'll never forget the very first time that I watched Concentration. I was like 6 years old. Family was on vacation in Sarasota, Florida, and visiting our friend of grandparents named May Lyons at her little house there in Sarasota. We'd watch Concentration. I think it came on like 10 or 10:30 at that time, and 1992. Then we go to the beach after that, usually. Okay. Concentration it's a memory game. You flip over number tiles and and then eventually get to a picture that you try to solve and win some prizes too. Matchup prizes, and hosted by Alex Trebek. He's getting up there in age, so you might have to get a new host for Concentration. But maybe, who might work here? Mark Summers might be a good host for that or something. Okay, and then at 2 p.m. we have 21. Now, if Maury Povich, maybe he wants to do it again. He's getting a little older, but so is Chuck Woolery. I don't know. We might have to. Unfortunately, we might have some great game shows and maybe some raw host. Some raw hosts, some unexperienced hosts, but hopefully get some good hosts for these game shows. 21 at 2 o'clock. And this, I'm debating, should this be a half hour or an hour show? I don't know. But anyway, 21 is probably one of the best trivia shows I've ever watched. The object is, it's to get to 21 points, but instead of playing with cards, you're playing with trivia questions. The quickest way is to get an 11-point question and a 10-point question, but the higher point value, the more difficult the question, Yeah, so think about it that way. And then they have the bonus game. I love the bonus game. It's, basically, you get a category, and it's like true-false questions, I believe, and you double your money with each correct response, and you can win up to I think the primetime version was like $200,000 or something just for that. Now, obviously, if this is going to be daily, daytime, this is going to be close to 200 episodes. Price is Right is usually 190. I think that's the standard for daytime, 190 episodes. Instead of a weekly primetime show, it's going to be a daily show. You're probably have to lower the money a little bit. And then at 2:30, we bring back Sale of the Century. Now, technically, Sale of the Century was brought back for one season in 2007, but it was called Temptation, the new Sale of the Century, but it was nothing like the original Sale of the Century. Unfortunately, Jim Carey hosted the original Sale of the Century from 1983 till 1989. He passed away about 4 or 5 years ago now, so we'd have to get a new host for Sale of the Century, but it would be nothing like the Temptation knockoff, because Temptation was just like a huge infomercial for merchandise. There was, the gameplay was very weak and just, Yeah, you'd bring back a nice fast-paced trivia game, but then of course you would have prize plugs, and, the host would be like, this trip to Europe can be yours for on sale. It used to be $5,000, but it's on sale today for $100. And you could take the prize, but it costs you $100. And the object game is obviously have the most money at the end of the game. Then you play the bonus round kind of thing. That's Sale of the Century. Okay. And then the rest of the day, 3 to 8 p.m. will be local programming. So, 34 minutes, not too bad. Anyway, that has been my look at daytime game shows. I hope you've enjoyed it. For the Conservative Pelican, I'm Bobby Crawford. Good night.